Hello, this is wmpyr. For today's lesson, we're going to be working with stick and knife. But before we get into that, let me take us back to a very basic form. All right, first single stick. And with the single stick, let me go back to the most basic form, the 5 angles of attack, which hopefully you're very familiar with by now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Diagonal, diagonal, horizontal, horizontal, and then stab. All right, we're going to use this very basic form to practice 2 types of footwork. So basically, it's offensive and defensive footwork. It's the same form. If you're going to do it offensively, every time you strike, you're going to take a step forward and strike. That's number 1, and then come back to your neutral position, your starting position right here. Number 2, I'm going to take a step forward and strike, and then I come back, all right, back to the neutral position. Number 3, boom, I take a step forward and strike, and then I come back. Number 4, take a step forward, then I strike. And number 5, same thing. I come back, and then I step forward, and I stab right there. Okay, the next part is to practice defensive footwork, which means you're going to be moving either to the right or to the left to get out of the way, okay? So when you strike, you're basically going to move in the opposite direction. So for example, number 1 is this strike right here. It's a diagonal down. Even though it's going forward, I still go from right to left. Okay, so when I strike, I end up over here on the left side, which means I want to step in the opposite direction. So I'm going to strike like that. As I strike this way, I step this way. You see that? I'm going in the opposite direction. If this was offensive footwork, I go forwards, boom, like so, all right? Because this is defensive, I'm stepping this way to the right. So now, number 2 is this, okay? So number 2 is going this way, which basically is to the right side. So if I'm going to go, if my weapon is going to the right side, my body is going to the left right here. So from right here, neutral position, as I strike, boom, see I stepped to my left, even though my hand went to the right side over there. So same thing with 3 and 4, which is, this is the horizontal strike, it's going to the left, so my body goes to the right over here. Now, number 4 is this way, so because I'm striking this way, my body is going to step in the opposite direction over here. Defensive, get out of there, right? Same with the stab, number 5. As I stab, I'm going to move either to the right or the left. That's your choice. So if I want to move to the right, it's like this, or I can move to the left, and it would be like so. Okay, so that is very, very important. You need to get a lot of repetitions and be comfortable with that, because the next is to use both of these right here, and it's going to become further more complicated. Okay, the easiest thing first to do is, first of all, the knife is on my left hand. Make sure you get a training knife, and then the stick is in the right hand, all right? We park them up here, and I could just do number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then switch. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Now, we can also practice making it offensive and defensive. So now I'm going to take a step forward every time I attack with the stick. Why? Because the stick is in my right hand. That's my dominant side. It's my primary weapon. Okay, so in that case, every time I use the stick, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then number 5. So every time I attacked, I step forward right now. Okay, and now with the knife, because it's in my left hand, it's not my dominant hand. So in this case, every time I attack, I'm actually going to step, I'm going to do the defensive footwork. Okay, so number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and then number 5 like so, okay, or this way, whichever your preference. All right, so now make sure that you keep practicing that and get very, very comfortable there. You don't want your body to get confused, okay? So with the stick, it's in your dominant hand. This is your primary weapon. Anytime you use your primary weapon, become offensive, boom, all right? Become offensive. Anytime you use your secondary weapon, you're going to be defensive. Get out of there, get out of there. Now you can switch back to your primary and I'm stepping forward as I attack with the primary weapon. So you want to be able to think like that automatically. So the only way to overcome that is to put in repetitions, do those exercises, and when you get more comfortable, instead of going all 5, now you could go something a little bit more challenging, which is going to be, let's do 2 at a time. So in this case, I'm going to go 1, come back, and number 2, and come back. I step forward both times, and now I switched over here. So it's 1, and then 2. And now I go back to the right side, and I'm going to go 3, and then 4. And then I come back over here, 3, and 4. And now I'm going to step forward for number 5, and come back, and then I'm going to move off to the side as I stab for number 5. Okay, so when I switch hands, where the knife is now in my dominant hand and the stick is now in my non-dominant hand, then the same principles apply, all right? So any weapon that's in the dominant hand is going to be used as a primary weapon. So I'm going to be aggressive with it. Boom. I step forward. I'm going to step forward. And if I'm going to use the stick, then I will be defensive. I will be using defensive footwork like so. And then when I come back to the knife, now I'm going to be stepping forwards. Boom. All right. So you can see that it doesn't matter what's in my hand. It's which side is to the front, which side is to the back. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and take care, folks.